All right, and welcome to a special episode of the Jump in the Rail podcast. It's kind of an odd week for it. This is Mark Redmond, and it's very special because this is actually a pilot episode for a new podcast, and I am joined right now with my buddy Minderz, Zero-1 superfan, frequent visitor to JTR. So, Minderz, how's it going?
I'm doing well. How are you doing, Mark?
I'm all right. I'm still figuring out technology, but other than that, it's nothing really to complain about. So, let me explain what we're doing here. So, in the podcast sphere, there's podcasts dedicated to all the major wrestling companies, AEW, WWE, GCW, Ring of Honor. So I approached the brass at Zero-1 USA and asked what they thought about maybe having a podcast for them. And they gave me the green light. So we're doing kind of a pilot episode of that today. It's gonna be called the Zero-1 Shootout, a Zero-1 USA podcast, and Minderz has been kind enough to help me out with it because out of everybody I know, nobody knows Zero-1 better than she does. So Minderz, thanks for helping me out with it.
Not a problem at all, Mark. I'm more than happy to help you out.
Oh, and it's appreciated. So turn up my monitor. There we go. So what we're gonna do is, well, first off, let's get with your experience with Zero-1. When did you first start watching the product, Minderz?
I started watching Zero-1. It would have been May of 2019. So, started watching it in 2019. Went to my first show in May, and I think I've only missed one since. And they have them about once a month. So,
Yeah,
fell in
yeah,
love with the product. Fell in love with the characters. Enjoy watching all of it. Have met some really cool friends there. It's been a good time.
cool. Yeah, and for people that don't know, they run pretty much exclusively in Mattoon, Illinois. Every
It
now and then
pretty
they'll go to
much they
Decatur
have
every now and
done.
then.
I would say they have done other shows in like Decatur. Um, there apparently there's a show coming up at Champagne or
Savoy, yeah,
Savoy. Yeah, Savoy
yeah.
here
I guess
next
they're running the Dark Horror History Con in Savoy in November. Or I'm sorry, in December. I think it's
December.
December 3rd.
But when COVID was going on, they were having their shows down in Noble.
Hmm. Yeah, that's where
So
their training was, like their school was.
yeah, so we've traveled a few miles to go see some Zero-1 shows, and but the nice thing was they were able to put some of those up on YouTube, so you're able to go back and kind of watch them when they wouldn't let you have a crowd in there. So
Mhm. Yeah, that's kind of where I got introduced to it is during the pandemic because they used to run at the Food Event Center in Champaign, but I didn't go even though it was like 5 minutes away from my apartment. And but yeah, so then in the last year or so, I started actually going to the live events, and yeah, it's been a lot of fun. A lot of the Zero-1 talent has come on my Jump the Rail podcast. Camaro, Rain, Victoria, Marvin, So yeah, it's been cool, kind of, and since that's kind of our home promotion, that's why it's kind of important. I wanted to kind of focus on that on the project. So for our JTR listeners, because this is going to be dropping as a Jumping the Rail special episode, and then once I get the technology worked out, hopefully tomorrow we'll have an actual separate channel for the Zero-1 Shootout podcast. Uh, let's go through Minderz because there's a lot of talent that honestly a lot of people probably haven't heard of in Zero-1.
there
And
is.
so I just want to kind of run down a few names and have you kind of put in your 2 cents on them. On some, I'm going to ask you to be nice,
Okay,
and
I'll do
you
my
know why I'm going to
best.
say that. So, yeah, we're going to run through a few of the big names in Zero-1 and kind of give a little background, kind of what they do. So we're going to start, and we might as well start at the top for minutes, and that's the champ. We got a new champ over the weekend.
We
So
did.
let's talk about Joey O'Reilly a little bit from the Low Lifes.
Joey O'Reilly and the Lowlifes were, when I first started watching, were the biggest heel tag team there was. Um, they've still kind of kept a little bit of the heel throughout the years, but they turned babyface for a little while. Now they're looks like we're going back to our heel Lowlifes, and I'm so
Oh
excited
boy,
because
are they.
you know me, I love my heels. So, but yeah, I hate that it was at. Well, somebody else will talk about. People in Lowlifes are Joey O'Reilly, Jordan
Mhm.
Perry, Tony G is the leader of the
I guess he's.
security,
I
whatever.
guess he's the only security now.
Yeah, he's the only.
I would have
Well,
to
let's
assume.
hope. Let's hope.
Yeah.
And then Marvin was with them. So, but
Right.
after this weekend's events, or last weekend's events, I'm pretty sure that's not going to be the case anymore.
Yeah, and we'll definitely get into Marvin a little bit once because we're going to talk about the show over the weekend too, and so we'll get into a lot of that stuff as we go on. But Joey's a veteran; he's been around for a while. He actually runs the school for Zero-1. He's training their young talent,
He is,
and
along with Rain. So,
we'll get to Rain here. She's on my list, but
sorry.
no, you're good. But no, Joey, he's fun to watch. He's very exciting. He does the cool superhero entrance that bounce off the ropes. Is very. I could do it. I mean, I just don't bother to.
Yeah,
But
it just takes too much energy, right?
yeah, pretty much. But in the times that I've seen Joey, whether it's on YouTube or in the live shows I've been to, I've never seen him have a bad performance. He's always aces in the ring in my book.
He 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 is a very good talent. He is a very good talent. Joey's been on AEW. He's fought Lance Archer a couple times. Lance Archer's spear or thrown him out of the ring. Um, he's very solid. He's one of their probably definitely one of their cornerstones of 01.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. But yeah, so he, as of Saturday, he is the Zero-1 USA Heavyweight Champion, and I did get some breaking news about that that I'll get into toward the end of the show, Minderz, which I don't know. I think I may have the scoop on you, but
You probably do have the scoop on me.
okay. But before we get into that, let's get into some more of these names. And the next one on my list is the women's champion, Max the Impaler, who I saw for the first time in person on Saturday, and she scared the bejesus out of me.
They.
I'm sorry, I'm still
Yep.
getting used to it. It's very different. So let's talk. So talk about Max a little bit for me.
I saw Max back in it was on a Sunday show. So it was a double show. I think it was in June. And when Max first came out, the first thing I said was they are terrible in the most great way possible. Um Max has been just a beast. Um they see, I do it too.
Yeah,
They were in New Japan for a while. They haven't been with it 01 for very long. And they kind of came in. I think they were at the last show in Noble, and that was when everything kind of got. That was the match I didn't make it to, and that was when they kind of established themselves with the women's division. And I just think Max is incredible.
now Max had a short run with AEW, right?
Do what?
Like on like Max was on like Dark or the YouTube shows for AEW once or twice, right?
Yes, yes.
But,
They have been. Yep.
yeah, Max is very. What I think intimidating is the right word.
Yeah, intimidating would
Uh,
be good.
yeah,
Picture a
definitely.
mutant from Mad Max era. That's pretty much
Yeah,
what Max is.
yeah. It looks like Max just came right off the Fury Road and wanted to start beating people up. So yeah, Max is one of the more exciting ones, and I don't know what their status is like. Are they going to spend a whole lot of time there, or because I mean, Max works Japan all over the country, so
Yeah.
I'd say
I'm
definitely
hoping
probably
Max
one.
sticks around for a little bit, but I wish nothing but the best for Max.
Oh,
I
sure.
figured they'll do the business right. They'll do business the way they should, and I don't have a problem.
Um,
I think Max is a stand up person too. So
Yeah. All right. So moving on, let's get to the world junior heavyweight champion. Uh, and this is where I say be nice.
I know.
Matt
You're gonna tell me
Pickett.
be nice.
Let's get into Matt Pickett and so talk a little bit about Matt's background, where he came from. I know he was with the Grindhouse. Was the name of the group he was a part of?
He's with Grindhouse now, but he was with the besties in the world out of Anarchy. I think it's where kind of I discovered or started seeing Matt Fitchett. He did come up, and him and the Lowlifes, uh, they had kind of a spiel going on. Only until probably the last couple months have I really seen him in a singles way. I've always seen him as a tag team. So when he came in that way, I was interested to see where it was going to go. So, because usually if you go from a tag team into a singles, sometimes you have that kind of area where you're feeling things out, figuring out where you want to go with it.
Yeah, that's kind of the common trait with a lot of these guys when they go solo.
Hmm.
One thing I do like with the Zero-1, their junior heavyweight championship was kind of absorbed from the old NWA Midwest X Division Championship, which is the belt that Fitchett carries around now. But I remember that belt from the actual NWA Midwest when I lived up in Aurora because they would work up in the Chicago area. So I just think it's cool they're still using that belt. And
Yeah.
he's got plenty of contenders sniffing around for him. He's got Anakin Murphy and I think was Jacques
Eh,
Kennedy. Would you say he's
Yeah, the luminary.
the
And
luminary?
I wouldn't be surprised if Victor Analog doesn't get thrown in there here too shortly. So,
Yeah, because he
um,
was supposed to work with Murphy over the weekend,
he
which I
was.
think was supposed to be number one contendership, wasn't it?
It
Do
was.
you recall?
Was it number one or was it supposed to be a triple threat with Fitchett?
I don't remember seeing Fitchett advertised for that show,
Okay.
but I'm not sure.
Because I know there's a lot of history between Anakin and Jacques, or I'm sorry, Anakin and Victor. Victor
Victor,
kind of feels like he trained him on his way up, and now Fitchett's kind of taken all the glamour from it, I guess, or taking all the
right?
credit for it, saying he's the one
Uh-huh.
that's made Anakin into who he is. So we'll
And
see where that
Fitchett,
goes.
yeah, so is Fitchett working heel or is he kind of filling that tweener role like a Tracy Smothers fighting everybody?
He's just kind of fighting everybody because at one point he was with Camaro. He fought Camaro.
Mhm.
He's kind of jumped around. He's filled in just wherever they kind of need him right now.
Okay, so I'm hoping that he'll pop up on the next show in November. Let's talk about the tag team champions, Minderz Country Air.
Country Air is a new one to the group. I don't know a whole lot about him. I know I've seen Doc wrestle the little guy. I've seen him wrestle a few times, but not a lot. I
Not
think he's
Sting, right?
solid. Yes,
Yeah,
and I think both of them are solid. They're good workers.
yeah,
They're starting to get more of the crowd behind them, but um, with the lowlifes coming back, Country Air is going to have their hands full.
right. And don't forget we saw the premiere pop back up again over the
We
weekend too.
did, yeah.
And we'll get to the premiere. But
I
yeah, Country Air they got good chemistry as a team. They're impressive to me, and I like the dynamic. You got the smaller guy that flies around, and you got Hendricks, who's kind of a brawler.
Yep,
But no, they're fun to watch.
they are.
All right, let's talk about your favorite Minderz, and that is one Rain Victoria, who we actually interviewed on the Jumping the Rail podcast about what did you say, 3 months ago,
A few months ago, yep.
2 months ago. So
Uh,
just kind of fill everybody in on Rain and what she does.
there's a lot of things Rain does.
A lot of
She
layers right now.
huh?
There's a lot of layers right now with Rain.
There are a lot of layers. I'm gonna plug it. Have you went and watched the YouTube on Zero-1 for Country Fed?
I have. I actually went through yesterday because there's only I think 4 episodes right now.
There are.
Four.
I
But yeah,
did.
I went back and watched those.
There's a lot of layers that are going in there, and I'm liking the character. Um, the only thing is, I'm noticing, and I don't know. I'm noticing that I think that her country fed character, I do like that character, but EOE, the Empress of Evil, that was the one that won my heart from the beginning,
Mhm.
and you just kinda support them through all of their things, so it's kinda like I'm going with the country corn-fed, whatever she wants to call it. I'm okay with it, the authentic Reign Victoria, but there's something about that EOE character that, you know me, I love my heels, and that's all I can
Right.
say, so
Yeah. Yeah, watching the YouTube channel, it's kind of it's pretty impressive the effects they can do for the production values they got for
yeah,
basically doing that out of their house,
yeah,
which I'm not,
um
which they're doing better than I am doing video out of their house. But
But yeah, Rain's one of those. She was one of the she was one of the ones that I saw back when I first started watching and helped get me interested in what the product was. So I, I I've been watching her for a long time. So
mhm. Former women's champion for a good while. I forget how long.
yep,
But
she was champ for whew, year and a half, maybe almost two. Just kinda going
that's
back.
the
I know
thing
because
too.
she won it off of she actually won it off of Savannah Stone
Mhm.
long, back when I first started watching it. So, she's come up against a bunch of different players. She's actually been on AEW Dark.
Mhm.
She fought, I
Yeah,
think it's
and that was
Penelope. Yep.
yeah.
And, so yeah, she's very and she does I think she's helping with the dojo or whatever their school. She's helping with that. There's a lot that she's into, and I can't do nothing but support her, so
Yeah, I think I first saw her work when she was having the feud with Sky Blue, who a lot of our listeners might know because she's a semi-regular on AEW these days. But
yep.
yeah, she's fun to watch. Both of her characters she does really well. So
Yeah.
I'm just really curious where they're going with it now because it seems like they're onto something.
They're onto something, and like I said, I wanna see how this is gonna develop a little bit more, just to kinda see where they're gonna go with it. I hope I wanna keep the EOE around for as long as possible, but like I said, I'll
Mhm.
support her either way, so, um, but yeah, I'm kinda hoping for the EOE to stick around for a little bit.
All right, all right. All right, so let's move on and let's talk about the premiere since we brought them up earlier. It's SK Bishop, your buddy Campbell Soup
And
Myers,
Campbell Soup
and
Myers, yep.
right, and it's been Camaro Jackson, who's a former Zero-1 champion. It seems like he was actually like with the premiere on the last show, but that might have just been because he was going on early and then taking off to go to another show.
I think that was a lot of it was that he had to be, he did another show in St. Louis that night, so but th they have to the tag team is great as a couple heels. I love them. They are my go-to tag team right now. If we get Low Lifes back, actual Low Lifes back, and not just Joey as a single with a faction, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, uh, they're getting almost too many heels. But the
Yeah,
Premier
we
is
talked about that.
so good at it. Premier is
Yeah,
so good at it.
yep.
So
Soup had some unkind things to say to you over the weekend at the show.
he did. I was actually excited to see him, and he told me some not nice
Uh,
things, and
uh, I haven't
we
decided this
cheered
is going to
for
be family
him. We
friendly,
even
so
cheered for him. I did get an apology, so
yeah, and I don't know yet if this is going to be family friendly or not, so I won't have you repeat it. But
okay. That's the reason I didn't repeat it.
if this was jumping the red, I'll just say, go ahead.
But yeah, so Premier. If we're gonna talk tag teams, right now there's not a whole lot more established tag teams that
Mhm.
are at 0-1. I know like the Crowleys were there this weekend.
Right.
They haven't been there since War Games back in May of last year. So it's been a
Yeah.
while. Was it last year? Yeah.
Yeah.
This
Was it,
this year.
yeah, it was last August. Or no,
Yeah, it
the
was
year
last
before
year.
that.
Yeah, no, it was last year.
Yeah.
Year before that was COVID, so they didn't have anything.
They all went together so much.
Yeah. But that's the thing, they're gonna need to bring up some or get some tag teams, either bring them in or get some of the guys that they've got
Right.
now to make tag teams in order to push their tag team division, I think.
Yeah. So along with the team Myers and Bishop, really got to talk about Camaro a little bit, the Quad Father.
The Quad
We
Father.
Yeah, I got to talk to him on Jumping the Rail a few months ago. Cool guy, crazy strong, hell of an athlete. Uh, yeah, just he's one of those guys that if you wanted to work babyface or heel, he doesn't have to change much
No.
because like watching, we were there when he lost his heavyweight title to Jake Lander a few months ago, and then watching this match he had Saturday, nothing really changed. He's just kind of doing his thing, you know.
He works the
But
same way. It just depends on what he says to the crowd on whether he's working heel or face. So
pretty much, yeah. Yeah.
it really just depends on what he says. And I was kind of I felt well. You said we'll talk about the show later, so I'll hold
Yeah.
my opinions on all that later.
Yeah.
But I think if we're going to
Uh,
talk about the roster, I don't know who you have next on your list, but we need to talk about
uh,
Lander.
he's actually next on my list.
Is he next?
Yeah, he actually was next. He, as up until Saturday night, he was the 0-1 heavyweight champion. Apparently going heel. He was the
Apparently,
underdog babyface for a while, but he developed a bit of an attitude this weekend.
he
Just took
did.
it out on Marvin. Just,
So what was your opinion on Jake Lander? Before let's say before this past weekend. You thought he was the biggest baby face.
I
Um
thought he was one of the more over baby faces on the show. Uh, Hell of a wrestler, technician. I know he had that match with Connolly a few months ago. It was kind of a bloodbath, kind of hardcore
yeah,
insanity and all that.
the bloodbath, yeah.
And I
Which
guess I got him into hot water with the office for doing that.
it probably did cuz there was a lot of blood at that one. A lot of
Yeah,
blood.
yeah. But he wound up beating Camaro to be the champion. And was that his second defense over the weekend when he lost? Because I know he defended against Christian Rose on one of the shows I didn't make it to.
Let's see. He's fought Camaro, he's fought Christian Rose, he fought there was another one cuz Warhorse.
Oh, Warhorse, that's right. I knew that.
Warhorse. Yeah, cuz he was kind of making the deal that he was going through all the former champions of 0-1.
Ah, so that's where
Um
Jericho got the idea.
yeah, there you go. Jericho got it from there. Um but so he started going through all the man Christian Rose is one guy I hope comes back a little more often. We hadn't seen him in a while, and so good. But Lander, just here recently, he's kind of gotten that little bit of a chip on his shoulder, and you know
It's
how I feel. I
little
have my
man
own
syndrome.
feelings about Lander, but do
Yeah,
what?
he seems to have kind of the little man syndrome, just getting a little bit, little spicy,
A little
like my cat.
spicy, yep. But he's solid in the ring. If you want to have a good match, that's one of the guys you really got to turn to. Um,
Yeah, I'd say him and O'Reilly probably top of my list if you're going that route. As far as
yeah,
just you want to make sure you're going to have a great match. You put them in the ring with one of those two guys,
yep, definitely.
among others, obviously.
Yeah, I would say there's a few others that I could think of too that I would put up there with them, but
Uh, the last guy I'm going to mention, we talked about the low lives earlier. Let's talk a little bit more about Marvin.
oh,
He's our
Marvin.
buddy. Man, and we'll use this to segue into talking about the show. But for those that don't know, I mean, I know you guys heard Marvin on the show about a month ago on Jump Through the Rail, and I guess my pep talk worked. I told him that he was going to win the battle royal, like co-won,
Yeah,
kind of a
technically he did win.
yeah, yeah. And then I told him he was going to win the world championship from Lander in the main event, and he didn't do it. He won the triple threat with Analog, and for about 5 minutes he was on top of the world,
He was.
and
It
nobody
was
saw it
great.
coming.
I know.
Yeah,
No, no, and trust me, I love watching Marvin. I think it's great, but I I had Lander holding on to the belt again, but then the way things had kinda
hmm
went, I kind of figured what happened was gonna happen. So,
I can't say I'm surprised when a group called the Lowlights does something dastardly. So,
yep.
uh, for those that don't know, um, Joey O'Reilly had the J. Brown contract
Yeah.
locked in. That's kind of their
I've been
version of
calling
the
it the jabroni contract, but
yeah, but it's like their version of the Money in the Bank for WWE. So just
yes.
carrying around a briefcase. And for a little backstory for all you guys that haven't been regularly watching the product, Joey and Jordan from the Lowlights have been kind of nipping at each other the last few months. Jordan kind of doing the traditional low life behavior, cheating a little bit. Joey kind of going the babyface route for a while. And then after Marvin shocked the world, well, I'll just say he did. Uh,
Right?
then Jake jumped him and taking it poorly, we'll say. And Joey came after to bail Marvin out, and then Jordan came after with the chair. The what I consider horseman style. Joey took the chair and waffled poor Marvin with it, then cashed in his briefcase and walked out of Mattoon with the world title and
Yep.
broke the hearts of thousands of Zero-1 fans that wanted to see Marvin at least have a day with the title.
The pop in there when Marvin won that championship.
You would have thought it was WrestleMania.
You would have. It was so loud. Everybody
Marvin
was so
Man.
excited for him. And then it was so short-lived. It was too short-lived.
Your heart goes out to the guy, but I got to think he's going to get go for his payback. I do think he should get a rematch with Joey one on one. I mean, just
It won't
play.
be one-on-one if Joey's going
Well,
back to
no,
low lives. It won't be
no,
one-on-one.
no. Marvin should invest in a little backup. Uh,
He should.
don't know who that would be. But there's a few guys in the Zero-1 locker room I could think of that could be helpful. One Tanner Keeler comes to mind. But
Yep.
but yeah, if you're going in with one of the low lights, you're going in with all of the low lights pretty much.
Yeah.
And
He's gonna need some backup.
yeah, but I do think he's in line for a rematch. I would like to see if he can find a partner. Maybe go for maybe a six-man match with the low lights against, say, like I don't even know who I would say because, like you said, there aren't a lot of babyface tag teams right now.
There's
I
not a
mean, it
lot
could
of
be Country
baby-faced.
Air,
You have
but
Country Air, and there's some people, and this is just because I follow around the indies around this area, and there are a couple that are out there, but there's nobody that I've seen at Zero-1 that I was like, well, what if they? Well, no, we can't do that, we can't do that. And then of course I'm never really looking for baby faces. I'm always looking for heels, but
you're a heel guy.
I am a heel girl.
You got a T-shirt coming that alludes to that.
I do. Hopefully it'll get here soon.
Yeah,
This is
hopefully by the next show.
this one. I'm just here to beat people up. That's from Aaron Williams. He's been on Zero-1
Yeah,
with Gary J. So
yeah. We didn't get into Gary J. I'm not real familiar with Gary J. I saw, I think maybe one match of his in person, but
yeah, and that wasn't even one to really understand Gary J. Because that was the
that's what I
Lethal
was
Lottery
surprised.
match, and that wasn't one to really understand Gary J.
No,
But
but so there's a handful of people. We aren't going to get into the whole roster because honestly, we don't really have the time.
right.
But
No.
But
Definitely.
they got I think we hit the heavy hitters on the roster, but there's several others to keep an eye out for. There have been some that have gone from 0-1 to a bigger stage in the AEW, namely like Warhorse, Sky Blue, uh, Maxine Taylor,
Yep.
and there's like I said, just because it's an indie out of Central Illinois doesn't mean they're short on talent. They got guys that could put on a hell of a show.
Yep. Oh, Cobra.
Now the
Can we just
Cobra, I
can we
forgot
just
about the
go into
Cobra.
the Cobra match? Come on.
Yeah, the Cobra, or like I told you, as I call him, Sir.
Yeah, you do. I don't.
I'll call
I
him
call
Sir.
him King.
Well, either way, it's a superlative.
Yeah.
But so even though Joey won the world title in the main event, he actually had a match with the Cobra earlier on in the show. Good match.
It was a
The
great match.
Cobra, he looks like a jacked up Ron Killings, R-Truth,
Yeah.
but considerably meaner.
You know what I called it the famous Seth Rollins WrestleMania where, he got beat by Randy Orton and then came in and cashed in. And I was like, man, okay, if that's what we're doing, this is what we're doing.
The heist of the century, they called
Yep.
it.
But that was a really good match between Cobra and Joey. I have yet to see a bad match with Cobra. Every match I've seen with Cobra in it has been great. So
Okay.
if he wasn't a heel, I'd say they can make him go be a baby face, but I don't think that would work
Well,
very well with his
I
aura.
yeah, well, yeah. I would say though, if having a victory over Joey on Saturday should put him in line for a title shot.
It should. It very well
You know,
should.
and I'd
Um,
be down for it. No matter what he does, he's going to get that respect pop.
yeah.
Like even if he's a heel, fans are usually behind him.
Yes.
So, uh, moving on from that, we talked about the premiere coming back. It was a surprise. They were unbooked or unannounced for the tag team title match. It was
I
Flair
popped
against
so
the
big when
Valley.
they came out. I
And yeah,
popped so big when they
they
came
popped it
out.
into the building like they own the place,
Yep.
and they almost pulled it off. They
They
came close.
almost did.
Yeah,
I have a
Country
feeling
Air,
I hope that keeps going because Country
yeah,
Air and Premier actually put on really good matches. So I hope that goes
yeah,
on for a little bit. So,
absolutely.
and I just love it when the Premier messes with them. It's great. And
Didn't
you
they
just
steal
kind of
their gear once?
do it.
Didn't they steal their gear, like their trunks, and
Yep, they did.
they
Yep.
said they couldn't be announced as a tag team because they didn't match?
Yep. And they've stolen the belts and oh, it's just great smarmy heel
Oh,
stuff.
smarmy is a great word for it.
But yeah, it's them well even the only thing that bothered me a little bit, I was super excited to see the Crowleys this weekend because they
Uh-huh.
hadn't been there in a long time. And I kind of felt like they got overshadowed a lot. But I mean, they hadn't been there in a while, and to have the
Yeah,
team come back that everybody hates was kind of what they were going for. But
I'll be honest. Since the Crowleys were part of the Evil Empire before, so I'm a little surprised they didn't come out during Reigns' match Saturday.
I was too.
Like after the match, maybe they come out and whoop on Jacques a little bit.
I that would have been fine by me. I wouldn't have cared one bit.
Oh, I know. So let's talk about that. So it was Reign Victoria and Maxie and Taylor against Jacques Kennedy, who's kind of an oddball. Calls himself the Luminary, and
Yeah,
Chelsea
he's
Durden.
or yeah, they're the luminary. Now, see, I've got some beef with Jacques in a way. He took
Okay.
out my number one wrestler that is the one I really go to watch, and that was Jimmy Carrot.
Uh-huh.
So he snapped his shoulder, and we haven't seen Carrot since. So I got a
How
little
long
beef
ago was
with
that?
the Illuminary.
Mm-hmm.
Not too happy. And he ripped my sign, and they ripped my sign last month. Just, you say you like heels, and then you get a heel that really messes with you, and
That he just didn't
don't.
know what to do.
Yeah, I don't know what to do. But yeah, Chelsea Jordan, in my opinion, is is a great wrestler there too. I was kind of surprised she went along with all of the luminaries' antics.
Well, I'm sure being in the ring with the champ had something to do with it too.
Oh, I'm sure. But and that was when we got to see the EOE back after
Mm-hmm.
Rain had came out as her authentic Rain
Yeah,
Victoria
she had
earlier in the
a
show.
promo earlier.
Yep. So we'll see how all that works out. I feel like there's a story between there. I have a feeling we'll see what happens between Max and Rain. I don't think Max was very happy with Rain, since she was the one that ate the pin. So
Uh-huh. Well, by nefarious means, though, it was Jacques choked her out with this little headdress, their headdress.
yeah, with their flowers. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. And they start talking to their flowers, and a
Oddball.
little bit of an oddball, but hey,
Right.
they're catching people's attention. So what can you do?
You can't argue with the talent. You know,
Yep.
they can go. Uh, so yeah, it seems like it's kind of for lack of a better term, a three-horse race for that women's title right now. We got Max, Rain, Chelsea. And that's really the extent of the women's division, except there was I don't know who was in the Battle Royal.
I
The
don't
young lady.
either. I want to know who that was.
Well, apparently so does Reign Victoria. I don't
Yeah,
know if you saw on Facebook the other day. She was trying to
I
figure it out.
yeah, I did. And I'll tell you what, whoever she was, I I'm interested to see what more they can do. What more
Yeah,
she can do. Because the way she was in that Royal Rumble or that Rumble, I don't want to say Royal Rumble, Battle Royal,
the Battle Royal.
I was impressed with some of the stuff she was pulling out there. So, and to be the only female in the match was a
Yeah,
lot to be. You
she
learn
kind
you.
of gave off like an alley catch vibe. If you know who that is.
Oh, I do know who Allie Catch is. Allie Catch, and she also reminds me of. Well, you might not know who this one is. She reminds me of Laney Luck a little bit too. Just
Okay.
a more stout version. Laney Luck's this little itty bitty 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 thing, and but she had a lot of the same type of move set, the same type of going and all that. So she reminded me a lot of her. So if that's the case, we might be in for a treat with this little quote unquote black horse. So we'll see what happens, and I might actually start liking a baby face. We'll see what happens,
That's a
right?
hot take from Minderz.
I was trying to think,
So,
was there anybody that you were impressed with in I mean, I know it came down to the Battle Royal. We had the final 4,
mhm,
which was Victor, Marvin, CMC. Who was the other one?
I'm trying to remember. It was I didn't take too
Was
diligent
it
note.
Devontae?
It was the
Devontae
taller
Knox?
one. It was the tall fellow with the hair.
I
It
don't
was
rem
one thing was a tag partner, and I can't think of his name for the life of me.
Oh, Chris?
Yeah, that's it.
Chris O'Brien. The yeah, I really like Devontae. I wish they would do I think Devontae could step up and be that baby face that they're really needing. Um, he's kinda got that vibe there at 0-1. Uh, some of the other guys are like Chris and CM, even CMC could even if he would start to step up. I think he might be able to pull off the baby face.
Yeah, he seems like he's over.
It seems like he's over there. I'm just I feel like he just needs a little bit more time in the ring. He's green. He's green, but he's got the he seems to have the drive, especially for his age and everything else. So I've got some hope for CMC. Just right now he's needs to keep working.
Yeah, well, that's true of everybody though.
Well, yeah, but
But yeah, he hasn't got the superhero backflip like Joey O'Reilly does, because that
yeah.
was the first time I saw him was when they had a match. But
Oh yeah. Oh, good times.
I'll tell you who impressed me in that battle royal was work rate Rob Leach, the
Right? So
usual
excited to see work
USA
rate.
ring announcer, but he was in the ring on Saturday.
Yep. He was in the ring. That was the first time. Well, I take that back. That was the second time I've seen Rob in the ring. And he held his own for a while. I was pretty proud
Yeah,
of Mr. Rob.
yeah. Well, he had the size advantage on most of the field there, but yeah, he was holding his own. Took a juggernaut in Marvin to get him out,
Yep.
but
Although if
no,
that's
it
who's
was,
gonna, if Marvin's gonna be who takes Rob out, I'm okay with it. But
so all right. So that's I think we covered all the matches from the show because there weren't a whole lot of matches on there.
there was not.
It all kind of stretched out a little bit. But there's a guy that was not there that I was kind of hoping was going to pop up, and that's Tanner Keeler. I mentioned him earlier on, but it seems like he's about due to come back and do his thing.
We'll keep our fingers crossed. Hopefully, we see him. I don't. I don't know where he's been. I don't. That's the one thing with the indies. You never know what happens in their lives, in their normal lives, that you don't know if something's going on, and you just kind of hope for the best. And
Yeah, but I
because
will say,
I'm ready to see Jimmy Carrot come back.
yeah,
I need to get you some matches of him because I think you would be impressed with some of the stuff he does too.
yeah, and we'll try to get him on this podcast too eventually. Uh, so the plan is for this show is it's not going to be a weekly. We've had pretty good luck with the every other week on jumping the rail, so I think we're gonna do the same thing on this one. Uh, but what I'd like to do is try to have every week somebody, whether it's a fan or one of the wrestlers, one of the announcers, to join us every episode and just kind of talk about what's going on in the company, and hopefully we can kind of get some of the groundswell of the Zero-1 fan base involved and go from there. Maybe get some more interaction. But we'll see how it goes. This is the first episode, and I think it's gone pretty well. Kind of finding our feet. I'm using new technology. Uh, we're not in the usual studio that we use. We're actually doing this out of my apartment on my computer. So I'm figuring this out as we go. So I hope you guys will bear with me a little bit. But I teased something, and before we wrap up, I teased a little breaking news at the top of the show. So on November the 19th is the next show at the Burgess Osborne Auditorium, and the show's called Ambition because obviously the big star there is going to be Davey Richards from Impact, Ring of Honor.
I'm so excited. I'm so excited.
And the brass at Zero-1 has told me what his match is going to be on the show, and it's a big one. He's going to be challenging Joey O'Reilly for the Zero-1 USA Heavyweight Championship.
All right.
So I think that's going to be a hell of a match.
Yeah. Maybe Marvin ought to have a little talk with Davey.
There you go. Because, well, it's like we said, man, if Davey's in the ring with Joey, he's going to have to deal with Jordan and Tony also. So
right.
Hopefully some of the Team Ambition guys are sticking around after their matches are over with.
Some of the Team Ambition guys were there last month.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, there was some there last month. So let's keep our fingers crossed because he might come out with his little entourage too, and let's keep things fair.
Yeah, and he's got a pretty good track record for proteges. He brought Kyle O'Reilly into the business. There's just one example. But yeah, he runs his group out of St. Louis, and yeah, it'd be cool to see him. I haven't seen him wrestle in person in about probably 10 years or so, and that was at Ring of Honor. But I think the Mattoon crowd will be in for a treat when he pops in. And like I said, it's really hard to have a bad match with Joey O'Reilly. I mean, low lights or not. And so yeah, that's something to look forward to. Hopefully, they'll have some more matches announced, and if they do, we'll announce it here on the show.
And did you see some of the people that were on the poster?
I did actually.
they had the poster up. I can fill you in on who some of those are.
Because I did get the poster on the interweb.
I say, let me pull
Yeah,
it
I
up here
see.
again. Yeah, because
Yeah.
the other guy, the other person behind him is Dan the Dad.
Oh yeah, I know Dan the Dad, and I saw him at Black Label Pro in September last year. See Max, Rain, Minderz, Camaro, yeah,
Oh,
all the usual suspects. Who's the fellow with the beard behind Rain? Who is that?
he was supposed to be here. I don't think it was the guy supposed to be the guy that fought Camaro this last week. Give me just a second, because he was a new one. Tommy Davis.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Tommy Davis. That's who that is. I can't remember. Was that what that guy's name was that Camaro actually fought, or no?
Yeah.
It was? Okay. So
Yeah,
that's
Tommy
that
Davis.
Tommy
Yeah.
Davis that fought Camaro. You got Jake, you got Country Air. Oh, yeah. We could get
Marvin
Marvin
made the poster.
with Kyle Pfeiffer.
Hmm.
That's Kyle next to Marvin. And then you got
Right. Right.
Devontae. And then I think that girl's the one we're talking about, that black horse.
Is it?
The other
Okay.
girl that's on there. Because that's
Yeah,
not Chelsea.
no, it's not Chelsea. Yeah, that looks
I
about
don't,
right. See Jordan there. So yeah, they got pretty much the usual suspects on the poster. But in front and center there, you got your main event, Davey Richards and Joey O'Reilly right there. And yeah, I think it's gonna be a hell of a show.
yeah.
And tickets are available on the Zero-1 USA website.
I already got mine.
Yeah, I think I'll be getting mine tomorrow. I don't know, maybe I can see that if I can sit at the press table. Because technically I'm pressed now.
Yeah.
The bear might throw me out.
Nah.
Yeah, we
Sure.
didn't get
Okay.
into Bear St. Pierre. He's kind of the ringmaster on the Zero-1.
He is,
But
yeah.
he's a guy I wouldn't mind having on here. But yeah, I think this is a good time to wrap up Minderz, like I said. And where we usually go 2.5 hours on jumping the rail, this one is not going to be that extensive. Could be about an hour, probably tops.
That's
And which I
fine.
think is all you really need.
Yeah, it
But
really is.
yeah, so what we'll do this episode will drop on the Jumping the Rail podcast, and after that, I will have the Zero-1 Shootout available for subscription on all the podcast platforms and everything. And that should be tomorrow or at least the weekend. But yeah, I think this is a worthwhile use of our time. And like I said, Zero-1, it's our hometown promotion nowadays. When I lived in Aurora, it was IWA Mid South. When I was in Danville, it was New Breed, but I didn't make it out nearly enough for that. So yeah, it's uh, it's cool to get out and support your local indie feds, because you never know who you're going to see there. That's kind of how I've always looked at it.
That's what I enjoy about it. Who would have thought Davey Richards was going to be in Mattoon, Illinois? Come on.
Oh, that's awesome. And then look at we had Jonathan Gresham here about a month ago.
Yep. Jonathan Gresham,
Yeah,
Sonny. There's been a lot of
Billy
big
Gunn.
names.
Yeah,
I know. I don't know how much yeah. Boogeyman,
the
Billy Gunn.
Boogeyman. Yeah, or as my buddy Nards calls him, Daddy Ass, which is just odd.
Yeah.
Like the sitting and everything. It's just weird.
But well, thanks for having me on, Mark. I appreciate it.
Oh, absolutely. And I guess if you're free every other week, you get we'll hammer this out. And
I'm sure we can figure something out.
oh, absolutely. But all right, so we're gonna call it a show now. So for my buddy Minderz, this is Mark. I'm gonna get my plugs in real quick. Jumping the rail next Tuesday. We will be recording whether it's live. I'm not sure. It depends, but I'll be joined on my buddy Gary DeCelio more likely. And we'll just kind of talk about everything WWE, AEW, pro wrestling in general. And then prowrestlingtees.com/JTR pod. You can get all the t-shirts for what I'm calling now the JTR Podcast Network, because now they got two shows.
There you
So
go.
It makes it sound more important that way. You can get all the JTR shirts. Working on some more things. I don't know how much I can do with Zero-1's logo on it because technically I don't own the company.
Yeah.
So we'll see. We'll see what I can come up with. But then Twitter, JTR Pod, Instagram, and Jumping the Rail. YouTube channel. It should be where you're seeing this program, the Jumping the Rail Podcast Network. And yeah, so that's all our plugs. And until the next time, which will be in 2 weeks, for Minderz, this is Redmond, and we'll see you guys later.